supporting us. So very good. Thank you very much. So my name is Bindu, and we'll have all the bios coming later. But I don't want to waste time, and I want to introduce Mr. Sonja. She's from the Brahma Kumaris, and she is actually going to do an activity. And this activity is called planting seeds. You would wonder what's special about planting seeds, but there is actually something special because we are also going to plant some positive thoughts and see the difference. So I'll just introduce Sonja to come over and she will guide us through. Thank you.
Good afternoon. So I'm Sonja from the Brahma Kumaris Environment Initiative, and it's my first time in Oklahoma. And I'm very, very happy to be here.
Welcome.
And I'm Sweden, and a lot of Swedish people emigrated to the US in the early 1900s. So I've grown up with Oklahoma, Dallas, Chicago from my dad, because my dad's uncle, he emigrated, so I'm kind of lived with these names. So it's very nice to be here. And it's Earth Day, 22nd April. And that actually started in the US in 1970, was the first global campaign for the Earth. And it came to be 22nd April because it was in between two terms in the university. So congratulations for starting the longest running environmental campaign since the 70s. And I think we can need that today, isn't it? Some encouragement on the environmental side. But we wanted to start with a ceremony. And in Brahma Kumaris is a meditation school. And in India, we have a big chapter called Yogic Farming, where they add the power of prayer, the power of meditation, the power of positive thought to agriculture and to ecological agriculture. And it turned out that he says amazing results. The vegetables are bigger, the nutritional content is higher, and the C vitamin is higher, the protein is higher if you add good vibrations to the agriculture. And I think in our heart, we all have a small farmer, isn't it, or a gardener. Is that right? You have a small farmer or gardener in your heart?
Yeah.
Do you talk to your plants at home?
Yes. Too much.
Too much. They respond?
In their own way.
Yeah, they do. Yes.
They're good therapists.
So as it is the Earth Day, I thought we could do a little ceremony, and all of you listening, I think you can do afterwards, or I'll do the panel here first, and then there is a pot and a seed for each of you after. But so each one has you can take a seed. I choose the pea shoots. Is that okay? Yeah, you take a seed here. And just take it in your hand for now. And you will also come. You take the seed for now. And the sister here, she didn't think you should get your hands dirty, so you can sort of make a hole with this pin. And as we plant, we can have a thought. What positive thought do we want to put into this plant? And before we plant, I'll ask each one of you, what quality do you need to make a seed grow? What personal quality would you need to make this seed grow? So I'll give the mic to all of you, or maybe you don't have anything. So you let me know, for a seed to grow and become a plant, what personal quality, virtue would you need?
Perseverance.
Perseverance.
I would say mindfulness.
Mindfulness.
Love.
Love.
Hope.
Hope. In why hope?
That this turns into something else.
Yeah. So small things to such a big thing, right?
I love that.
If you look at the amazing trees you have around here, how small they were once.
I would say determination.
Determination.
I would say intention, action, manifestation.
Intention.
Given space. Strategy.
Strategy.
A young person strategizing.
I will water these plants 3 times a week and this time. Very good. Very good. Wonderful. So we can have a moment of silence and we all fill our seats with good wishes. And then we can plant it with love and care and whatever intention you have to make it grow. And we give all of you sitting in the audience, I will ask you to put your hands like this. So instead of the seed, you put the whole earth in your hand. All right? So let's have a moment. We put the earth in our hands. And we feel the earth, the seed, with a pure intention, determination, hope, love and care. Go inside and find a place of peace. Go to the divine, the higher spirit. Get divine energy into my hands. Embrace the earth. Love and care. Place with kindness, with love and care. So now I invite our panelists here to plant their seed in their cup with this intention. When this plant grow, you will remember our lovely day together.
Yeah.
And all, yes. In the audience, you have your cup there, and you have also different seeds to choose between. There's
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. It's nice that you're outside. So I want to formally introduce Melody J. Paul, the Unitary Nation Association of Oklahoma City Chapter President. Hello. Also welcome Sister Bindu. Want to formally introduce Sister Bindu as well. Sister Bindu is the director of the Kumaris Meditation Center of Oklahoma, which is a branch of Brahma Kumaris World Spiritual Organization. She has been a Lacher Yoga meditation teacher and practitioner for the last 15 years. She has served numerous individuals to come out of stress and worries by teaching them the inculcation of positive values in life and using the power of meditation in bringing about transformation. She also serves in the states of Kansas, Colorado, and Nebraska. We welcome both to come forward. Thank you.
Today we have an activity. So only 10% of the population of our trash gets recycled. So I don't know if you knew that. So today I have an activity, and the activity is we're gonna make a pledge. I don't know if you can see this board right here. So can you turn this over here so everybody can see? So I have on this board, there's 10 things So my activity involves 10 simple changes that we can make. I don't know if everybody can see the board. So we can turn off the lights when not in use. That's a simple thing. And if you're forgetful, like me, you can put your lights on a timer so they go off and you don't have to remember to turn them off. So use washable dishes. So when you're at home or in your office, you can have dishes there and you can wash them by hand. So that's another way that you can reduce our footprint. So you can use a reusable water bottle. So I find that's most people don't even drink a full bottle of water. So, and then you get a bottle of water and then somebody else has a bottle of water. Well, nobody knows whose bottle of water that is anymore because they all look the same unless you buy 2 different brands. But usually you don't remember what even brand you bought or what somebody gave you. So you end up wasting all the water. Not only do you waste all the water, you use the plastic. So you just, I know that's a big problem in my family with my kids and myself and everybody getting a water bottle and leaving it around. Suddenly we have this pile of water bottles. So we don't want to do that anymore. We want to get a bottle that we can recognize, right? So that's your bottle and that's yours. You're not going to get it mixed up. So you're not wasting the water and you're not wasting the bottle. So that's to me, I think that's a big way that you can reduce plastic waste. You can use metal or paper straws. So this is another way to reduce plastic waste. And also straws are a danger to our wildlife. So they're small, they're pokey, whatever. It's going to cause, the smaller the item, the worse it's going to be because it's harder to pick up. So the other thing, take down on energy waste. Don't run tap water unnecessarily. So that means when you're brushing your teeth, you don't need to keep the water running. So things like that, just simple logical things that we just forget, right? So just habits that we need to work on. So turn it off in between brushing your teeth, washing your face and hair. And another thing you can do is take a shower rather than taking a bath and filling up the whole bathtub. You can take a shower, wash, turn the water off when you're not using it fully. So recycle properly. So most cities, except I think which city were you telling?
Del City, they don't.
Del City doesn't have recycling. They don't have public recycling. But if you're in a city that offers you the green bin, try to use that for your plastics. Or I think whatever's recyclable. I think so. Also pull up weeds and hit by hand. That's another way that you can. Don't be afraid to put as many stickers on there as you would like to. The more the better.
Good afternoon again. Those who are done with, can you all take your seats, please? Okay. I'm just going to introduce Brahma Kumaris. I'm sure you are not familiar with. And so today's event is brought to you by the United Nations Association Oklahoma City chapter and the Brahma Kumaris Meditation Center, Oklahoma City. The Brahma Kumaris is a global spiritual organization and it got started in the 1930s. And we are active in over 140 countries. And our focus is on meditation, self-awareness, and value-based living. We believe that the change in the world can come with a change in the self. And, when our minds are peaceful, our actions are peaceful, and it does a lot to change the world. One of the standing features is the 1 megawatt solar thermal plant called India One, that was built up in Mount Abu, India. And we run one of Asia's largest solar cooking systems, which prepares about 35,000 meals per day. We participate in all UN climate change conferences and global environmental forums. One of the things that you got introduced to is the yogic farming, where we do organic farming along with meditation. And we have seen big results, and I think Sonja will introduce you to it. So basically, we feel that for the earth, we have a spiritual responsibility as well. So we see nature as sacred and believe all life need to be respected. So with that, I will call upon Akash Patel. Akash Patel is the chairman at the United Nations Association of USA. He's the past president of the American Council on the Teaching of Foreign Languages and the founder at Happy World Foundation, Inc. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Good morning, or sorry, good afternoon. I didn't even realize with this weather, it feels like good morning, everybody. So hello, everyone. My name is Akash Patel, and I represent our national organization, the United Nations Association of the United States. And we are a membership organization of over 25,000 members all across the United States that believe in the great work of the United Nations, and we further American interests at the UN. So Melody Jaiswal, she is our president at our local chapter right here in Oklahoma. So Oklahoma, we have two chapters, two community chapters. One is the United Nations Association of Oklahoma City, and the other one's the United Nations Association of Eastern Oklahoma. So Melody has been doing a terrific job, reviving our chapter after COVID. Many nonprofits got hit. But to give you a little bit of background about the work we lead at the UN Association of USA and our relationship with the United Nations. So we are now a campaign of the UN Foundation, which was created through a $1 billion endowment by Ted Turner, the founder of CNN. And the whole mission of Ted, the vision that Ted had behind making this philanthropic gift was to support the work, philanthropically support the work of the United Nations. So ever since the inception of the United Nations, we were actually we have been existing since 1943, even before the UN Foundation came into existence. So Eleanor Roosevelt, who I don't know if any of you know who she is, but she was the United States ambassador to the UN General Assembly in 1953. So for decades until she passed away, she was the greatest ambassador for the work that we lead at the United Nations Association of the United States. I've been involved with the organization for probably my 7th year now. In several different roles, just recently last year elected as the chairman of the UN Association. We're here at a very critical time. But before we begin, I just want to make sure we honor some guests in our room. Thank you everybody, first of all, for making it on this rainy day, also a very solemn day for the state of Oklahoma. I understand this was a day of memorial of a heinous terrorist attack in 1995. When I was just 4 years old. I was a baby. And I hear President Clinton is in town to commemorate the 30th anniversary of this very tragic day. And at the same time, we are here to celebrate something more positive and to look forward to the future with Earth Day, which is coming up on April the 22nd. The United Nations celebrates Earth Day and recognizes Earth Day on April the 22nd. So I just want to start us off with a very bipartisan message. Thank everybody in this room for being here. We have a couple guests that I certainly want to make sure I recognize. Bill Bryant, who has been a past president of the United Nations Association of Oklahoma City. And by the way, Bill has been a member of our national organization for 32 years. So Bill, thank you so much for your service. Thank you for your tireless efforts in promoting the work we do.
I just want to say I've been a member for 32 years and it hasn't hurt me a bit. I feel good about it.
We love having you. And I have Timothy Trujillo. I know Timothy, I ran into Timothy last year at the UN General Assembly where we were at the Summit of the Future in New York City. And Timothy is the vice president of the International Human Rights Consortium. So Timothy, it's so good to see you from New York to Oklahoma. We were in the halls where all heads of states from all across the globe were out gathering to come together to sign the Pact for the Future. But again, Earth Day reminds us that protecting our planet is not a partisan issue. It's a shared responsibility. Clean air, safe water, a stable climate matter to all of us, regardless of party. By working together across the aisle, we can safeguard our environment for future generations while fostering innovation, jobs, and healthier communities. Let's unite today to honor Earth Day with action, because a sustainable future is something every American can believe in. So apart from all the resolutions you made with Melody, which was incredible, my personal ask to you as the chairman of this national organization, during a very difficult time when international aid and foreign aid has been cut, we can all agree that we can at least protect our environment. It affects even folks right here in Oklahoma, which is a predominantly red state, and you know that. You have tornadoes, you have all kinds of crazy weather I hear in the state of Oklahoma. So my personal ask to everybody who's attending here from no matter what zip code you're in the state of Oklahoma, if you could, after our event today, make a phone call to your member of Congress, to your senator, and tell them to continue level funding for the United Nations, so they can continue investing in a sustainable planet for people all around the globe, which in turn comes back and helps and reduces mass migration of people. Because people are not going to want to move if they can live in places where they have an equitable access to resources, to life, and just a place where that they can succeed. So this is not a partisan issue. So I'm requesting that by the end of today's event, if each one of you could just pick up your phone on Monday, because today's Saturday, they are going to be closed today. So Saturday, you can call your senator, Senator Lankford, Senator Mullen in the state of Oklahoma. I just saw Senator Lankford a few days ago. I was telling Phillip where we saw Governor Anatoly, who is a great champion of sustainable development and anything that has to do with sustainability. Melody was right there at the event, and our call was to make sure that our members of Congress on both sides of the aisle can come to an agreement to level funding for the United Nations for common sense issues that both sides can agree on. So that level funding is going to continue to ensure that people everywhere have access to live in a sustainable world. Non-partisan issues. So please pick up your phone and make a call for us on behalf of UNA USA. One thing you have to say is, please, Congressman or please, Senator, can you continue the level funding for the United Nations for the upcoming fiscal year? That's all we are asking. So let's go ahead and get started. I know all of you are here. Many of you drove many from different cities across the state to make it here today, and y'all want to come hear from them. So I know I have biographies for everybody, but I know y'all want to speak about different things. So I'm just going to hand the microphone so y'all can briefly introduce yourselves. I thought that would be so much more meaningful, because we want to hear a lot more about what you do in your day-to-day lives and how we can all be inspired to take whatever you do and seek inspiration from your words to implement it in day-to-day life. So does that sound like a plan to y'all? Okay, we'll start right here with Phillip.
My name is Phillip Cravatt. I'm the Director of Environmental Services for the Chickasaw Nation. Hello, my name is Travis Stroud. I'm the Chair of Biology at OCCC, and just excited to be here today.
Good afternoon, I'm Sonja. I am the Director of Brahma Kumaris Environment Initiative, and I also run our meditation center back in Copenhagen.
Good afternoon, I'm Katrina Lacher. I'm a professor of environmental history and director of sustainability studies at the University of Central Oklahoma, just north of here in Edmond.
Hello, everyone. My name is Morgan Fairley, and I am with the Sustainability Alliance. We are based out of Tulsa, but serve the region, helping individuals and businesses improve what we call the triple bottom line: people, profit, and planet. I'm the programs and communications manager in that role, and look forward to sharing more with you about that, and as well as my personal enthusiasm and passion for creating a more sustainable world that both people and our environment, the biology, can all really work in harmony together. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you. My name is Amit Gumman. I'm with Harmony Healing Center and Harmony Nutraceuticals, Harmony Herbals. So we are all about harmony with nature. When we work with nature, we work with the plants, use them as herbs and medicines. So a lot of our work is with people working with contract farming, with farmers who grow the herb for us. Glad to be here. Welcome.
My name is Trey Bright. I'm a student of OCCC and a student of the world. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Trey. Let's give them a good round. So yeah, all right. So I'll just stay here. Y'all are going to run this panel today. So thank you so much again. And by the way, Sonja, did y'all know that Sonja made it all the way from Denmark, right? She flew all the way from Denmark to Oklahoma. This is our first time in Oklahoma. So let's give her a special Oklahoma welcome. Thank you, Sonja. So we'll start right, with Phillip. And Phillip, you are our only, unless I don't know about other folks, if you have any tribal affiliation, anybody else? So since Phillip's our only tribal representative, maybe we want to start this panel off with you. So how do you think the Chickasaw worldview, or how do the Chickasaws see the relationship between personal well-being and the health of the land?
Well, they're connected for sure. Well, we know they're connected. In our health, they're interconnected, and there are a lot of people struggling with chronic illnesses. The earth and people both are showing signs of stress. And the thing is, we got to make sure we look at the big picture, because we can't just be environmentalists out there trying to pass, regulations that won't stick. Finding the middle ground that will. Because although cancer cases globally really actually have went down, people under 50 since 1990 to 2019, it's actually risen 79%. And then younger cases up 28%. Oh, wow. So there's something going on, and then, and so then you look at obesity, poor diet, sedentary lifestyles. Kind of like we're talking up here, the panel today, we really need people to really look at all these factors and address it holistically, and that's what we do believe. Although we have known factors, it's a fact that environmental pollution, degradation is, having issues, in the United States. That's air pollution. That, it's one of the leading causes, of lung cancer and heart disease, asthma. Matter of fact, I'll tell a short story. I gave a presentation. I have a presentation, and I'll give a plug for our culture center. Actually, all week next week, there are going to be free things to do for Earth Week. And I'm actually giving a presentation on Earth Day at noon about our programs. But I actually gave the same presentation at one of our leadership meetings, and one of our elders come up to me afterwards and said, "Yeah," she said, "my husband died of multiple myeloma," and I was like, "Wow, okay." And so I started talking to her, and come to find out there's 7 people in our county that have the same cancer. And so, with that, and multiple myeloma, if you don't know, it's a really rare cancer. It's 1 in 100,000 that get this cancer. In this particular county, there's about 15,950 people, which makes it 43 per 100,000. So she does. There is an issue. There's some going on here. Is it cumulative effects? We don't know. But she has. That this cancer is rare. It affects men more. She has 2 sons and a grandson. So she's wary. So since that day, and we actually have talked to our medical center. We have epidemiologists looking into it. We're blessed to have that kind of support. But it's important, so we're not just dealing with, the people we don't see. Now, every day when I think about her every day, and we're actually starting our air program to monitor, PM 2.5 because of those reasons, because the immediate effects it does have to your health. Also species decline. 20% of assessed species, are at risk for extinction. That's amphibians, birds, fish, they're like the canary in the coal mine. That's what it could be. These sensitive species could be going away. So, so most indigenous and most people in general really know that it's just not about physical, it's about spiritual, emotional, and environment, really all combined, and really in my thought, it's like, we really want to have a mutualistic relationship, with our planet and with each other. It seems like a lot of time it ends up being parasitism. A lot of times it is. So that's really what we try to do, is really try to focus on having that mutualistic relationship, and truly heal, help us heal, and just really help everybody heal, including our planet.
And you mentioned that next week you have the activities. You want to give them a plug about the location?
Yes, it's at the Chickasaw Nation Culture Center in Sulphur, Oklahoma. You can actually Google Chickasaw Nation Earth Day events, and there's a whole week of events, all week, and they're free to come to. And they have stomp dances and giveaways and planned giveaways all week. So there's just all kinds of activities out there for you to do.
Well, thank you, Phillip. Thank you for that. A great start. We'll come back right to you, but Travis, you're a biologist. So from a biologist perspective, why is Earth Day so important? And how has your research that you've conducted shaped the way you view environmental conservation?
I could have let your answer stand for me, because I think I'm going to say a lot of the same things here. I think Earth Day in general, as a biologist, is a chance to remind people of what I'm always trying to remind my students of, is that this planet is interconnected at every level. You cannot pick one level of our ecosystem or an individual organism that is not directly connected to another level. And so particularly on a day where we've got at least a nationwide understanding of what we're talking about, it's a chance to advocate for biodiversity. It's a chance to advocate for various ecological functions, sustainability, and what that looks like. And just personally, I'm an ecologist, and I studied a number of different species, but one that really stands out to me is a small songbird called a red crossbill. Not found in Oklahoma, more in the western part of the United States. But they're a really interesting bird that is able to breed in the winter and the summer months. Most birds, it's sort of spring into summer. And the reason that they're able to do that is because they have a cool little adaptation. And I always say biologists are many things, but creative is not one of them. So the bird was called a red crossbill. I bet you might know what it looks like. Its bill is crossed like that, and it's red. And that bill is actually a tool that they're able to use to open up pine cones earlier than they actually mature, where other birds are able to access them. But they're kind of unique, and so they're able to be okay. They're able to survive when things are uncertain. Most birds are not special like that. They don't have those adaptations. And so you're not just going to be able to look at one species and say, oh, well, they're doing fine, and that means that everything's fine. You've got to look at all kinds of species, all kinds of things that we can measure and show that things might not be going so well, and realize that you're not any different. You are an animal. Your entire lifestyle is maybe very separate from what you think of as nature, but it relies upon nature. So that's what it means to me.
That's terrific. Thank you. Thank you. Join me in welcoming, the welcoming remarks from Travis Stroud. I know we were supposed to be at Oklahoma City Community College, but we are at Oklahoma City University. We're in the same city, but just a few miles away. So, but still, great turnout. And, thank you, Travis, for all your support with the initiatives we lead. And then thank you for bringing this youth voice that I'm sure everybody in here wants to hear also from our youth voice. But before that, Sonja, I know you flew all the way from Denmark, and you did a terrific start, I think. Very beautiful start that we got to, I think just quite incredible. Thank you for that very thoughtful activity. So what values do you think, Sonja, that you feel are most important for creating a sustainable future, and how can individuals live them daily?
So good afternoon again. And I wanted to pick on your comment on that way everything is interconnected. And I think environmental care starts from here. I understand that my waste thoughts is actually connected to the garbage and waste on the outside. Yeah. So the greed in my heart is connected to the depletion of the resources of Mother Earth. So we as human beings, we are part of this climate change problem we're having at the moment. And if we are part of the problem and we are causing the problem, can also be the solution. And the power of our mind is maybe more powerful than we think. And we all know this classical example that if you have a big machinery, and if you have a positive impact on only one little part of the machinery, it will impact the whole system. So this big ecosystem of the whole planet, and I'm one person out of 8 billion people, but still my thoughts matter. So one positive thought of mine will have a positive impact on the whole system. But also one negative thought of mine will also have a negative impact on the whole ecosystem. So I cannot say I'm just one of 8 billion people and my thought and my life doesn't really matter, because it do matter. Every thought matters. Every penny I spend matters. And so I have such an important part to play in restoring the earth. And one of the values which are most important, I would say, would be contentment and simplicity. Because overconsumption is a big problem. We spend too much, we use too much, we consume too much. And why do we do it? Now, sometimes I feel a little bit sad or depressed or a bit anxious. I go out and buy a few things and feel a bit happy for a while. And I'm maybe discontented in my relationship, and I go out and buy some new things and I feel good for a while. Yeah. So our overconsumption comes from a discontented heart and mind. So in my spiritual journey, it's been through meditation and through spirituality that I made my heart contented and my mind contented. I feel it with positive vibrations from the soul, from God, from the community. And then I'm contented and I will consume less. And that has such a big positive impact on the world. And then, of course, we're honoring the land of this Chickasaw nation, and they are famous for respect for nature, and balance, and living in balance and harmony with nature. And that also comes living in respect and harmony with myself and other human beings. So when I consider the earth to be my home, I will naturally take care of the whole home. And if I consider all living beings as part of my family, I will naturally take care of the family. So.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Well, that's terrific. Well, Katrina.
Yes.
Thank you for being here, Katrina.
Thank you for inviting me.
And I know part of your work as an academic, you've studied historical events and how they tie and how they have shaped our current environmental policies and attitudes. Do you want to reflect a little bit on that?
Sure. And again, thank you for inviting me to be a part of this panel. Earlier, Sonja brought up the very first Earth Day in the United States in 1970. And Senator Muskie and Senator Gaylord Nelson were the organizers behind this. And it was a day that was filled with kids picking up trash in their schoolyards and playgrounds. There were concerts. There were other activities. And there were also, strangely, FBI agents surveilling this very first Earth Day. Why is that? So the first Earth Day was seen as potentially subversive. So how far back do we have to go to understand where this idea of caring for the earth, trying to bring balance to the earth, is something that is anti-American? And we can go all the way back to the Constitutional Convention, which we like to celebrate as a place where rights were established, but it was also ultimately a real estate convention of how we're going to use this land and how we're going to distribute it. And through this process, starting in the 1700s with the foundation of the United States, trees became timber, land became real estates. Beaver were for their pelt. Water, instead of being a human right that is respected, becomes a commodity that is fought over, where the price of water and the accessibility to safe water for communities is tied to our socioeconomic status. And we can see us doubling down very locally here if we reflect upon the Dust Bowl of the 1930s, where aggressive farming tactics that were meant to bring in the greatest profit. When wheat prices were high, we planted fence row to fence row, and kind of forgetting even about our kitchen gardens to push that profit. And when the rain stopped and when drought came, we see the limits of those types of mentalities. And so those are just some key events, and we can talk about others as the day goes on. But the United States committed itself to commodifying nature rather than living in synchronicity with nature. And also we see ourselves as a part of nature rather than a part of nature.
Wow. Yeah, certainly. I mean, great perspective. Come back to Phillip, he may have something to add there, bringing in the Native American perspective on how that has probably been forgotten over our history. So Morgan, I know you were one of our nonprofit representatives, and nonprofit civil society plays an influential role in shaping some of this policy, shaping what we do on a day-to-day basis. But we want to start us off maybe by just sharing your journey. How did you get to the Sustainability Alliance, and what inspired you to be so passionate about the environment?
Well, thank you, Akash, for the question. And again, it's great to be here today. I'm going to try to keep this somewhat succinct because it is kind of a long and winding journey. But essentially, I have always felt a really deep connection to the earth and to nature. When I was young, I thought that meant that I wanted to be a zoologist. I wanted to work with animals. I was the kid on the street that was catcalling all the cats, saying, like, come hang out with me, I'll be your friend, And I grew up, I found a love of science through my schoolwork, and realized that for me, actually, that's where my kind of creative brain and my logical brain had this intersection of, wait, this is what value I can bring to the world. And science made sense to me in that way. And so in college, I also went into biology. So you've got a lot of good biologist friends up here. And I figured some things out. In my exploration of biology in school, I was the type of student that I didn't want to take electives to just get a credit. I really wanted to take courses that would expand my breadth of knowledge and help me to experience new perspectives in related fields. So I took courses in environmental science, I took courses in ethics, I took courses in history, and I wound up finding my way into a scholarship to study abroad in Bonaire. It's a tiny country that is about 30 miles off the coast of Venezuela, and it is less than 14 square miles. It's very small, very beautiful. It's a fringing reef habitat with a semi-dry arid ecosystem, which means that the water is crystal clear almost all year round. There's no runoff from rain events, and you can walk outside your door essentially and be in a reef. And one of the cool things I thought when I started this program was that it was a marine protected habitat, the entire island. Which is cool sounding, right? You're like, okay, this is a place that prioritizes conserving its natural resources and protecting the very things that I care the most about. Because of a medical concern that I had, I was supposed to be going there to get a scientific diver's license and doing scientific diving research. And I was not able to participate in that. So I was kind of on my own for a lot of the days where coursework had been planned around that. And again, instead of just finding fun things to do, I thought, let me make this productive. And to me, productive was learning the culture of the place that I was in. So I became friends with locals. I asked them questions. I became invested in what they were doing and what issues they were experiencing. And a very pivotal moment happened for me when I realized that the research that I was doing, I was studying piscivorous fish assemblages across steels and habitats. Sounds fancy, but really all that means is that I'm looking for big fish in different places at different times. So in doing this, I talked to some of the locals and realized that the whole island being marine protected was actually very antithetical to their success and livelihood. And it was actually creating the exact degradation that on the surface, I thought a marine protected area was supposed to be preventing. Because of the designation as an island being marine protected, that meant that people that had been fishing there for millennia, I mean, indigenous folks that had many oral written histories about their connection with the land, how they operated with the mangrove forest to make sure to cut paths in just a way to provide habitat for nursery fishes. But also making sure that they are, fishing the right amount of fish and the types of fish and the types of seasons to ensure that those populations continue to produce. Those people were not allowed to fish anymore. They were being fined for fishing. They were being jailed for fishing or worse. And instead, what was legal was bringing in big hotels, right? Big business that is creating all sorts of pollution, all sorts of environmental harm that was essentially acting double fold on top of this idea that we want this to be an island where fish thrive. Well, we've not only cut off the success of the people here to make that happen, but we've also brought in new influences that are going to send that into worse decline. And the big moment for me was I thought it was not only worthwhile, but imperative that I brought this into my research. Because I was talking about piscivorous fish assemblages, I thought, how can I talk about this without including the social context of what's actually happening here on the island? And I got red line. I got told, no, you can't do that. It is too political. And that really was the moment for me that I thought, I can't just do science for the sake of science. I love science. It was something that I will always respect and admire, and will probably get, back into at some point in my life in some ways. But that really led me to think, how can I use, this creativity, this logic, this, the science brain that I have and apply it in a different way. That's really going to include that social impact element. And so that led me to end up working at the Center for Applied Social Research out of OU, where I spent a little over a year and a half working on a collaborative project assessing watershed habitats across Oklahoma and understanding the socio-ecological impacts of climate variability on them. So really seeing how does a culture relate to its watershed, what are their distinctions, and what are those implications for how they view climate change as they're experiencing it. And then I went on to work with a project on severe weather events in Alabama and Tennessee, really focusing on how to find ways to better connect emergency managers with socially vulnerable populations. And that spurred me like, okay, there is research here that I can do, but if I stay in research, I'm going to die in research because I love it. And I needed again, to broaden my perspective of, okay, what's business like? I've never been in the business world. How am I going to create solutions that solve problems for other people and not just science-minded people? And so that got me out of that realm for a bit and working in data and technology for social impact. I wound up founding the Sustainability Alliance, and I've been with them officially for 3 years, but have worked for them in various ways for about 5 years. And it's a great place to kind of bring all of the background that I have and ideas that I have to really push forward, tangible solutions, and sometimes those are small wins, but sometimes they're a lot bigger. And here in Oklahoma, I think there is so much ability, not only from the people here that are passionate and have an inkling to participate in sustainability, but I genuinely believe that we can be seen as leaders in this space because of our diversity, because of our history. We have so much going on that works here in Oklahoma in a way that could be a recipe and template for other places if we could really put our weight behind it. So that's what I'm here trying to do.
Terrific.
Thank you.
Morgan. Amit, so you know the theme for today is caring for self and caring for earth. Considering your background in Ayurvedic medicine, how does the theme for today's event at UNA Oklahoma City tie to Ayurveda?
Thank you, Akash, and all of you for having me here. Namaste, which means I honor the place in you of love, light, and purity. And when you are in that place and I'm in that place, we are one. So that's what is Ayurveda about. Ayurveda is an most ancient system of medicine or healing on the planet. Ayur means life. Veda, the word wisdom comes from Veda. So it's all about the wisdom of life. So in Ayurveda, we are one with nature. Like in native traditions, it's Father Sky, Mother Earth. And in our Indian medicine too, it's all about nature, one with nature. You know the word God in Hindi? Anyone know what it's called? Ishwar. Bhagwan. Prabhu. Bhagwan. If you go look at the word Bhagwan, it comes from 5 letters. Bha is Bhumi, which is land, earth. A is Agni, which is fire. Ga is Gagan, Akash, or sky. Va is Vayu, which is air and space. So the word Bhagwan itself, the word God, is nature. So in Ayurvedic medicine, we use nature as the balance of the elements of nature within us, and it has to be in harmony with the elements of nature outside us. So it's a constant interaction between the nature outside and the nature inside. And when we are in that harmony, when we are in that synchronicity, when we are in that balance, that's when we are healthy and the universe is healthy, the planet is healthy. So my journey started long back. I started as in naturopathic medicine, where again we use elements of nature for healing. In Ayurveda, use elements of nature for healing. So these 5 elements of nature, the sky, the air, fire, the water, and the earth, are also metaphor. Like everything is these 5 elements. Even a single atom, even a small atom, the space is 99.99% of atom is empty space. And then you have electrons moving around with that force, which is air. And there's an atom, there's so much of energy which led to the Hiroshima and Nagasaki atomic bombs. So atom has that much of energy, that much of fire. And then we have water, which is the forces of element which binds us all together, which keeps us all together. And earth is what we see, what we experience. So in Ayurvedic medicine too, it's a balance of all these 5 elements, whether it's emotionally, fire, which is anger, fire, which can be passion, water, which can be, you have to have a balance of that, all these elements. If you are out of balance, that's when we are sick. So in my journey in healing, in fact, in my med school, we started farming. Bunch of med students, we started farming in herbs, and we started working with farmers to bring in sustainable farming using kind of biodynamic farming, which are very popular in India. In fact, some of the biggest farms of biodynamic farming are in India, and we work with them to be able to grow the herbs very as close to nature as possible without any pesticide, without any chemicals. And that's what we do here right now in Oklahoma. We're bringing those herbs and we manufacture those products for health.
And now our youngest expert on this panel. So Trey, give us your perspective as a youth representative, and then tell us more about what your college, which is also college I attended, Oklahoma City Community College and University of Central Oklahoma. So what is Oklahoma City Community College doing to protect the environment?
First, I'd love to say how outnumbered this is. Shout out OCCC.
Yeah.
There you go, good community college. And I would like to say thank you for studying history. History is what can show us what is done wrong and what can be done right. And so I'd like to bring up the history of Oklahoma City Community College, because I think that this is what is interesting, what can lend us some information. Maybe unbelievable, but that land used to be a wetland. Oklahoma is a very diverse state just by ecology. I believe it is 12 specific different georegions that make up this state. And so Oklahoma City Community College being built on a wetland, there are many species that rely on that land to come and hunt, to come and get food, to just live their life and make it in their migration patterns, like Canadian geese that they call it home. And so having been built on a wetland, that place would be prone to flooding and prone to many issues that having a building there for many generations will not recover. And so to mitigate this, what they have done is to make an effort of focusing this floodwaters from the streets, from their own parking lots, from that entire area into a pond there, which aqueducts and different canal systems allow from the local neighborhood and in the streets within the parking lots to bring into this pond, where people can walk around and where the local wildlife can still prosper and live and no longer be pushed out. And so whenever the campus opened in 1972, and you can see there are no major damage. There have been no flooding that has taken out the school, and this is something that is important to see, is that sustainability is not something that you can just achieve in a day. It can all be done individually. And history can show us this. History is a story of people coming together, a collective will of human beings finding something which can be a better future. And so with this, it was not a singular person that came and built canals, built dams, built aqueducts for this pond to be there. It was not a single person that planted the trees, planted the plants to make this area sustainable for the birds that were to return and for the semi-aquatic animals like turtles that live there. It would not be a single person that can do all that. It takes a community. It takes people coming together. And so as you had mentioned, talking to our senators, talking to people who make decisions of what many, many people will be doing is what is most important. We can find individualistic means to help the environment. But by looking at history and looking at what, as you said, FBI agents at Earth Day,
wow,
we can see why we're at where we are. And so we need to take a stance on that. Yes, silence only helps those that hold others down. Do not be silent. Take a stance and help this world. Maybe not for yourself. Maybe not for your grandchildren, but for people that you may never meet hundreds of years from now. We humans have been here for thousands. We have history stretching back at least 6,000. And we can look and we have archaeological evidence for farming. If we are to let those stories be sponged up by us, this consumerism, as it has been mentioned, if we are to let that be wiped out, that would be a disservice. Let us not let these stories carry on for a few more generations. Let it go for hundreds or even thousands of years old. Thank you.
Okay. A young, inspiring speaker that quite very well summarized the great points from everybody. Travis, is he on the president's leadership class or?
Should be.
Should be. I'll make sure I'll talk to President Jones and be like, you've got a great candidate, a leader who just inspired everybody to take action on, making our planet a better place for everyone, not just for yourself, but for somebody you may never meet. That's something I'm going to take back. So, this next part, I'm going to let you all just take a couple minutes, okay? Because I'm going to shuffle this up a little bit. I know we have some questions that we presented to you all, but I want to make sure they have an opportunity to talk to you. So I'll give you another round of questions. If you could take less than 2 minutes to answer those, and then we'll go to the audience. Does that sound like a plan? Are we okay with some impromptu questions? So, Phillip, let's coming back. You can chime in a little bit on what others have said, but also one thing you wish more people understood about indigenous cultures, indigenous perspectives on sustainability, on wellness, and how can we work together?
Well, I think, for all of us, just realize that we're all on the same earth. We all need to work together, and really get back to the earth. And I know this, it seems like we're all saying the same thing, and we kind of are. We talked about this earlier about being outside. We have camps, environmental camps, and that's one of the things we do. We make all the kids take off their shoes, and we talk about, hey, this is a way that you can get back to the earth. Make you feel better. And there's science behind that, and I think really all come together, and we do that, in holistically. And I'll talk a little bit about just our program itself. And we're environmental services, and we do EPA work. So we look at regulatory levels, make sure that air quality, water quality, those types of things. But we work even within our nation. I work with epidemiologists, like I said, the cancer cases. The last week, somebody emailed me about a water issue. I guess the disinfectant products really weren't, they're still in the water. So I filled it out, and we have a public health guy at the hospital. I send it to him, and he looks over. We work with our emergency manager. We're really working with everybody. But not only that, we work with EPA. We also work with the state of Oklahoma, Oklahoma Resources, where we actually go out and electrofish with those guys. Next year, we're going to work with the state of Oklahoma to do wetland work. Usually we jump off, I was telling some of this earlier, we're also starting a lake program. So the tribe's buying us a boat with tribal funding to start a lake program. That's how much support we get within our program. So, and one thing I want to say is that, because I'm here representing tribes, and with Chickasaw Nation is very blessed. We're very blessed. We got so much infrastructure. Like I said, I just said epidemiologist, emergency manager. I got grant people that help me. We got financial. Matter of fact, we have legal. So they just last week, legal wrote me up about WOTUS, and it was like 17 pages, and I was like, whoa. I said I didn't know. When you said I didn't know that much either, but I just so much to learn. So really, I think just all of us getting back to our roots, and tribal ecological knowledge really isn't, at one time we all knew the rhythms of the earth. We're all here. So it's not like going back, it's really remembering who we are and where we came from, and we're all saying the same thing up here. We all want the same thing. So just people just realize that. Sorry, 2 minutes.
That's great. If you have plenty of time in the audience, and I'll make sure we value them, that they have been here in our online audience. They have an opportunity to talk as well. So, Phillip, you're an educator. I went from being in the classroom teaching languages, Spanish, to serving at the UN. I want your perspective as an educator. And I want to quickly share my story really quick in Oklahoma, because if we were talking about Earth Day, 10 years ago, I was in an elementary classroom, and I have a passion for working with animals. I've worked with elephants and with sea turtles in Costa Rica, which is how I ended up learning Spanish, because I was in a tree house for 2 months while backpacking in Costa Rica. I ended up picking up Spanish. And I taught Spanish for 6 or 7 years. But the elephant part was the coolest one. My students wanted to see pictures of elephants, and they wanted to see what I did with elephants. I'll talk about a collaboration I did. I looked up on Google one of the world's largest elephant poo-poo paper company. Yes. And it's based in Chiang Mai, Thailand. It's paper made out of elephant poo-poo. And the guy's an engineer who left his job as an engineer and moved all the way to Chiang Mai, Thailand. And I just wrote to him and I said, I'm an elementary school teacher. I teach kids in Oklahoma about elephants. You wouldn't believe it. A month later, to my address in Oklahoma, he shipped me 100,000 pieces of elephant poo-poo paper. I will never forget that story. So I remember before I became a teacher, I traveled across the state of Oklahoma teaching kids about elephants, but also giving them some art elephant poo-poo paper. And kids would run into me at Sooner Mall or Pet Square Mall, be like, Mom, that's the favorite teacher.
Look at you. Yeah.
That's my little environmental story. I think something like that can spark curiosity in our students, in our youth. And they could be like, wow, 99 elephants are being killed every day. What can we do to protect them? Even though I'm not around elephants in the state of Oklahoma, there's something I can do. So maybe Katrina and Travis, both of you, if you could chime in your perspective as educators, as professors, how could we inspire our next generation of solutionaries?
Yeah, I think that's exactly the point, is you need to be bringing in real world relevance to your classrooms, even just conversations that you're having with people. Some of these seem like really hard to grasp, large academic type issues, but bringing in something that has real world relevance. Where is this going to impact me? How is this going to impact me? How soon is this going to impact me? A lot of people that have the ultimate decision power may not care about the impact because they might be gone soon. Looking for ways in which to empathetically connect with. Do you care what the world looks like for your grandchildren? Of course, getting people out into field work is a great idea. Just go visit some of these natural resources that are in the state of Oklahoma. I always hear people say, "Oh, the state of Oklahoma is kind of fly by. It's just not that pretty." It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. And I think if you hear somebody say that, bring them to Chickasaw Nation Center. I mean, I've been there, and Sulphur is amazing. Just make things practical. Bring somebody out into nature. Show them what could be and what used to be and what is now. I think that'll help.
Terrific. Well, maybe Katrina, you want to chime in really quick, and then I'll come to Sonja.
Yes. Definitely, as an educator, two things come to mind. One, I teach a lot of sections of the United States History Survey, and instead of seeing the land as kind of a passive backdrop when we talk about events in United States history, I encourage them to see the land as an agent or an actor in history, and as well as its resources. And that forces students to think about the interconnectedness and how our historical narratives are rooted in the land that we come from and in our connection to our resources. And in one particular activity that I do, students don't know that it's coming, so they can't prepare, but the clothes that they have on, they have to take a look at their tags and where their clothes come from, what materials they are made of, and that is a project that they're going to have for the entire semester of researching the country where the product comes from, the materials, how they're made, the carbon footprint of transporting this piece of clothing. And by the end of the semester, they realize not only the natural resources that go into making their shirt or their shorts, but also the human labor, the human story behind our most often cheap clothing.
Perfect. Wow. Well, both of you. I mean, that was, these are some impromptu questions. Before Sonja, we go to you. Do you mind? Phillip's got a quick comment, and then since we're on this theme, is that okay, Sonja? If you and Amit and Trey and Megan can all chime in on something similar on inspiring our audience, or what can we do to help with our theme for today?
And I just want to make a quick comment about our youth. And so we have great youth programs at the Chickasaw Nation. And one thing that we do, is that we go, for one thing we get Toksolly Smart, which is a youth education program, work program. We get them 14 to 21. So when we actually start, as far as them actually coming to our department to work at that age. We also have an intern program. So when you're in college, you can come back, and if you don't live in Ada, they have an apartment for you to stay in. So you can come and work for our department. And then we also support it through EPA funding. We have a gentleman that's an ecology student through ECU. This is his second year, being with us, funded through EPA. So we really do. But besides that, we also go out. We have environmental camp, and one of my favorite pictures is probably right here. I wish I could show you big, but all the kids are in the Blue River, and we're all looking for macroinvertebrates. Taking them out there, letting them actually see, feel everything. And then we also, to really not only to reach the parent, not just the kids, to reach the parents, we send home stuff during Earth Week, little, simple things. Turn off the water when you brush your teeth. Turn off the lights when you leave the room. Use a reusable bottle. Use reusable, grocery bags, those types of things. So we do really try at an early age to start. We also have a STEM program that we work with. So we do try to start early age with our Chickasaw youth to try to get them into science. We need more scientists in general.
So I wanted to talk to you about hope, and this will be my suggestion for action to you. And Brahma Kumaris is affiliated to United Nations Convention for Climate Change. You might have heard about the COP conferences taking place around the world all over the year. So we started our environment initiative in Copenhagen 2009. So I've been to every climate change conference since. And in Paris, you probably heard about the Paris Agreement. It was in 2015. And I happened to meet a very famous Swedish professor, Johan Rockström. He's today the director of Climate Change Institute in Germany. And he's very enthusiastic, always enthusiastic. But you see, it takes a lot to be enthusiastic when you work with climate change, because all statistics, all curves, all trends is just going the wrong way. The number of species dying is increasing, the number of extreme weather events is increasing, the drought is increasing, the cold weather is increasing, everything is increasing in their own way. It's just very difficult to keep hopeful. But he's very hopeful. So I asked him, Professor Rockström, how can you be so hopeful? And he said, I believe in scalable technology. We will find some technology which we will be able to scale up very fast, very quickly. And then together with him was two colleagues from Brahma Kumaris, Sister Genti, she's a senior teacher. And she's there like Bindu in a very tiny, in a little white sari. And I asked her, Sister Genti, what gives you hope? She said that the soul is immortal. And I thought, that's two very different answers. This is scalable technology and immortal soul. I mean, how far can we get from each other? So I asked my other colleague, Gollum Peels, who worked with solar technology, and he was there, and I asked, what gives you hope? And he said that I, as an individual, I'm part of, we are interconnected. I can shape the world around me, and finally I will be able to shape it into a future world in harmony. And then I asked myself, what gives me hope actually? And I came to kindness. Yes, the people are kind. If I lose hope, if someone is kind to me, I can continue a little bit. So I realized it's very important for each one of us to find out what gives us hope, actually. Because it might not be, it's not a standard answer. You have to work it out. Because climate anxiety is increasing all over the world, especially with young people. We have climate anxiety alliances and climate psychologists now working in Europe, in our part of the world. But of course, so that's my homework for you, your action, to find out what gives you hope. And, after winter, spring will come. It might be delayed, it might be cold, but spring will come. And now it's kind of winter, isn't it? Many hearts are frozen, our minds are frozen, kind of blocked a bit. But after this, spring will come. And to practice gratitude and to practice giving something all the time. And one of the reasons we become hopeless is because there is no action to take. I can't find a solution. I'm powerless. There's nothing to do. But now we know that I can always think positive and send good vibrations to one person, one community, one area, and that will do have an impact. So I always have something I can do. Yeah, thank you.
Well, I'll just say first, Sonja, I could listen to you talk all day, I think. So if you ever make a podcast, let me know. So yeah, I mean, I've got quite a few things and I'll try to get through them quick here. One, I would say embrace inconvenience. I think convenience is such a scourge on what we consider, to be sustainable actions these days. It's very easy to say, well, I'm too busy. I have to be there at this time, or I've got X, Y, and Z weighing on me. And so, I can just do it the easy way. So when I say embrace inconvenience, I mean, build it into your lifestyle. When we're thinking about walking instead of, taking a car, really all you're saying is, I'm going to leave 10 to 20 minutes earlier, right? Or I'm walking down the street and there's a piece of trash. Well, it's going to be inconvenient for me to pick it up and carry it with me because I didn't bring a bag. But you know what? We can be uncomfortable for a few minutes, and that's okay. When I go to the grocery store and I don't, get that many things, maybe I'm just going in for a handful of items, I literally use my hands to carry them out of the store. I don't use a bag. I don't even use a reusable bag. I just say, okay, this fits in my hands. I can do that. It's inconvenient, but it's not going to hurt me. And I think the more that we can embrace that way of thinking is that we don't always have to have things be perfect and aesthetic and work out exactly the way that we want. It actually creates this spaciousness within yourself. It's that whole connection between, I think, that mental well-being that goes along with this idea that we don't have to be in demand and in control of every aspect of our lives or environment. The next thing that I would say is really thinking about intentionality. You said it earlier, but so many of these things that we can do as individuals comes down to just being intentional about it. Like, building that space, building that time, thinking ahead, planning your trips, trip chaining, right? Like, I'm going to plan out my route that I'm going to go to run my errands to be, more efficient with my gas mileage, rather than saying, oh, whatever, I'll just willy-nilly go from one place to the next and figure it out along the way. Just a small little shift, 2 minutes of planning does something of benefit. And the next thing that I would say too is we can all do something, much like Sonja, you were saying, in our own corners of the universe. It's really easy to get overwhelmed by thinking, the sky is falling, it's calamity out there. But all of the little things that we do in our day-to-day lives, it's a drop of water. And the more benefit that we can provide to those around us, the wider that drop of water spreads in the pond. And lastly, I will say, connect with each other. Share your journeys. Share your frustrations, your stresses. Don't approach each other with shame. Invite people in and say, look, you might not think the same way that I think about this, but maybe we can find, a way to help you do it better, or to help me do it better, or, find some level of agreement that we can move forward through. We're not ever going to get there if we don't talk to each other, if we don't be vulnerable with each other, and if we don't try to build community around the things that we care about.
That's great. Especially in the polarizing times that we live in, if you talk to each other, we might as well become friends.
What I would say is to embrace oneness and embrace divinity, to see divine in everything. Like in East Indian medicine or any culture, we see divinity in everything. Like in Christianity says, God is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. That's what we see and imbibe in our day-to-day life. We see a plant and we see divinity in that plant, and the plant is worshipped as a holy basin, or river is worshipped, like Ganges. Doesn't mean that you're worshipping, seeing that as God, but seeing the divinity in that river, seeing divinity in fire, the fire ceremonies, like in Chickasaw ceremonies, and friends, Cherokee friends in Talipa, me and Timothy would be going with another friend of ours to go for stump dance and for sweat lodges. I mean, we see that oneness. There's so much of divinity in that. And if you see that oneness you see that there's so much of common ground. There's so much more to build bridge than to build wall. There's so much building bridges needed. So that's what we try to do in Indian medicine and Indian philosophies, to see that oneness. And if you look at all the religions too, they're all about the same thing. Brahma, Kumaris, right? Brahma is that creativity, that intention. Vishnu would be that action. Shiva would be that manifestation. So it's all about that, having that balance of intention, action, and manifestation in connection with nature and everything around us. So that would be my 2 cents.
I would like to bring us again to a communal point of view in what we can do together as a group rather than a singular entity. You look at a factory that produces plastic straws, gets stuck in the turtle's nose, gets stuck in the eye of a bird, whatever you wish to think of that is horrible. I, as an individual, have these 2 hands. Some may not have 2 hands, some may have 3. That is not. But what I can say is that for me as an individual, to pick up, put it in the trash, put it in the recycle, in that same amount of time that I threw that away, 10,000 more just got made and are distributed out. Effort should not be focused on worrying and guilting yourself. As you said, we are drops in an ocean. And that is very true. We only have these in ourselves that we can control directly. But by working together, we can control much more. Why be a drop in the ocean? Why be a big drop whenever we can collide and find genuine change? Find something that'll work for a more prosperous future. As a friend of ours mentioned how everything started being focused on profit in the initial days of America being made. If you stretch farther back in history, this was something in England before the colonies came here, before that happened. There is the idea of improvement, of improving the land. That did not mean making it better for everything involved, not all the species, but it made it more profitable. It is a French term where improvement comes from. I'm not an entomologist, study of languages and where words from. Etymologist. Thank you. Get a professor for the right word. There's etymology, entomology, study of bugs, study of words. It's too simple. Very simple. Yes. Thank you.
Also, we spoke about value. So I brought some card for you, and there has a value on it, 10 different values. So when you leave the room, you can get your personal card to see which one value destiny has chosen for you to focus on.
Awesome. So again, next event, we would love all of your collaboration. We're collaborating with Oklahoma City Community College, actually, the United Nations Association of the United States, and my nonprofit. We're going to put together a Global Citizen Gala at Oklahoma City Community College's WEPAC Center. And that's coming up on July 26th, Saturday, July 26th. Then in October, we're going to have a nice celebration for UN Day, where our chapters all across the country, we do something, so we'll send that announcement. But very next, we're going to have the gala, and we're planning actually to honor Lieutenant Governor Chris Anatubby, along with other leaders. So if you have suggestions, you want to partner with us in some way, we would love to have your support. Melody now is going to close us out, and we have some recognition for everybody here. So.
Okay, so I wanted to, first of all, thank everybody for coming, and especially thank you, Ira, for helping us get this OCU space. And I was going to give a quick story real quick about that. I told her to just we have OCCC, just cancel it. But in wisdom, she didn't cancel it. So I just want to thank you so much for thinking ahead, and so thank you so much.
We work together.
Yeah. Teamwork. Thank you so much. So okay, so I guess what we want to have is we want to recognize all of the UNA OKC team, if that's all right. So Sri and Norman and Bill and Venkatesh and Jima. So anyone from, and Mr. Bindu, of course, anyone from UNA OKC, come up here if you're in there, because don't let me forget you. It would be terrible.
And you're not asking they can join.
Yes, and if you want to join, you can come up here and then I'll help you join after. Sign you up. Okay, so, all right, so this is Sister Bindu of the Brahma Kumari, but she's also a member of the United Nations Association of Oklahoma City chapter. And then we have our beautiful Juma Kearns, and she is our Vice President of the United Nations Association of Oklahoma City chapter. And this is Ira, and she is our Public Relations Coordinator. And this is Sri Jaiswal, my husband, and he is the Inclusive Development Coordinator. And this is Bill, our oldest member, not oldest member, but our longest member. Yeah, and so we want to thank Bill so much for all of the help and helping all of us collaboratively revive this chapter, and so we can do such amazing things that we have planned for Oklahoma City. So then we have Norman, and he's our engineer, and he's also on our treasurer committee. And Bill is he's the secretary for the treasurer. And this is Venkatesh, and he is our treasurer. So also IT. IT, yes, also IT. So he wears two hats. I'm going to have them, let's see, 1, 2. Yeah, we have enough people to give everyone a gift. All right, so the gifts are there. You might have to flip them out a little. So we have, so in the bag, I got a earth-friendly gift, since we were talking about plastic water bottles. So I really don't like them. I really don't like them. I'm not saying I never use them, but I don't like them because I'm always getting mad at my kids. Why uses this? So inside the bag is a reusable water bottle. So that's what you're all getting. Okay, so if you want to just come around here and, oh, that's fine. Give them all a gift.
So, Amit, Jimmy, you can start on that side.
Yeah, just for giving them the gifts. Oh, you thought you were kidding? I'm sorry. I don't think I have to. Okay, so, all right. Thank you so much for coming and speaking for us today. It means a lot, especially as we're new, and I'm glad to make these collaborations, and these hopefully we'll build relationships for the future of our chapter and do hopefully many more fun events, and also hopefully we can help spread the news of what you guys do and what we do, and hopefully see what good we can do with Oklahoma City. So thank you so much for coming today.
That's it.
And also, I wanted to say, I wanted to show the board. There. Yeah, Akash is going to hold it because it's heavy. I used recycled things that I had in my house. I didn't go buy a styrofoam board. I made this chalkboard out of a piece of leftover wood. And then, but this I did buy, but the rest is recycled. Okay, so we have quite a few number who have decided to turn off the lights. Wow, a lot of people wants to wash the dishes, so that's good. Anyways, but this is the collective thing that we did together. So as you can see, there's quite a few stickers on here. So Thank you for those who made the pledges to the earth. And this is the change that will, I don't know how much this will do,
Anything else?
but everything, every little thing helps. And also just encouraging everybody to, by your act, it also will encourage somebody else's. So we're not islands to ourselves. Okay, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please remember your plant when you leave to have a memory of this beautiful day. Yeah.
So if y'all don't mind just standing there, we're going to take a group picture here by the nice signs we have, and then by the flag, the UN flag.
Yeah.
And then of course you're feel free to mingle with the audience.
Do you have the two pictures?